The next day, Akin visited Chukwu's house again. Onyeka, unaware of his sinister intentions, welcomed him warmly. She prepared food as usual, and as they sat down to eat, Onyeka's phone rang. She took the call and stepped away from the table, leaving her drink unattended. Akin seized the opportunity and quickly poured the poison into her drink. When Onyeka returned, she continued eating, unaware of the deadly substance she was about to consume. Akin hurriedly finished his food and left, claiming he had a meeting to attend. Welcome back to part 2 of our story, Poisoned Heart. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, we highly recommend catching up on the twists and turns you've missed. In the cold, damp cells of the prison, Adana and Akin sat separately, each lost in their thoughts. Regret weighed heavily on their minds. But Akin had a secret that gnawed at his conscience even more deeply. He knew that the full story of his betrayal had yet to be revealed. One day, as the guard led him to the interrogation room, Akin decided it was time to confess. He had nothing left to lose, and perhaps in revealing the truth, he could find some semblance of peace. Akin was seated across from the stern-faced officer. The room was stark, with a single light casting harsh shadows on Akin's weary face. He took a deep breath and began to speak. It all started long before Adana came into the picture, Akin confessed. I had my eyes on Chukwu's properties for a long time. His wealth, his status, it consumed me. I wanted it all. The officer leaned in, intrigued by Akin's sudden willingness to talk. Go on, he urged. Akin's mind drifted back to the days when he and Chukwu were inseparable friends. They grew up together, shared dreams and aspirations. But as they matured, Chukwu's fortune soared while Akin struggled. Envy took root in Akin's heart, festering over the years. One fateful day, while Chukwu was away on a business trip, Akin visited his house. Chukwu's wife, Onyeka, welcomed him warmly. She was unaware of the darkness in Akin's heart. Onyeka, Akin began casually, how are you coping in this house alone? Your husband Chukwu is always on business trips. Onyeka smiled, her voice filled with pride and love. I do miss him, but he has to do all this for the family. It's a sacrifice we both understand. Akin continued, his tone becoming more intimate. You remember when we were kids? We were close friends, and I always had my eyes on you. Onyeka's laughter was light and genuine. Akin, that was a long time ago. We are grown now, and I'm married to your best friend. Why bring it up now? Akin leaned in closer, his voice dropping to a whisper. Chukwu is from a rich family. They don't regard us as their type. You don't know if Chukwu's absence is because he is seeing another woman. Onyeka's expression shifted from amusement to concern. What are you saying, Akin? Is your friend cheating? Akin saw his opportunity and pressed on. That's why I want us to run away together. We can take his treasures, empty his bank account, and travel abroad. We can start a new life. Onyeka's eyes widened in shock. Akin, you're talking nonsense. I love my husband and I would never betray him. If you continue with this, I will tell Chukwu everything when he returns. Akin realized that Onyeka would reveal his plan to Chukwu and he couldn't let that happen. Driven by desperation and greed, he devised a plan to eliminate Onyeka. He needed it to look natural, so he sought out a powerful and malevolent native doctor who specialized in such dark arts. The native doctor prepared a poison that would send Onyeka into a coma immediately. Akin took the poison, his heart pounding with a mix of fear and anticipation. The next day, Akin visited Chukwu's house again. Onyeka, unaware of his sinister intentions, welcomed him warmly. She prepared food as usual, and as they sat down to eat, Onyeka's phone rang. She took the call and stepped away from the table, leaving her drink unattended. Akin seized the opportunity and quickly poured the poison into her drink. When Onyeka returned, she continued eating, unaware of the deadly substance she was about to consume. Akin hurriedly finished his food and left, claiming he had a meeting to attend. Later that night, Onyeka began to feel unwell. Her condition rapidly deteriorated and she was rushed to the hospital. Chukwu received a frantic call informing him that his wife was critically ill. He cut his business trip short and rushed to the hospital, only to find Onyeka lying in a coma. Akin was there, playing the role of the concerned friend, comforting Chukwu through his grief. Days turned into weeks, and Onyeka remained in a coma. Chukwu was a constant presence at her bedside, praying for a miracle. But after several months, Onyeka took her last breath, leaving Chukwu devastated. Onyeka's funeral was a grand ceremony, attended by the entire village. Chukwu was left to care for their two young daughters, Chinara, who was 8 years old, and Ad, who was 11. He began working from home to be there for his daughters, his heart heavy with grief. Akin continued to visit, maintaining the facade of a loyal friend while secretly planning his next move. His greed was insatiable, and he knew that Chukwu's wealth was still within his reach. As Akin recounted his story, the officer listened intently, his expression unreadable. The room felt charged with the weight of Akin's confession. "Why are you telling me all this now?" the officer asked, his voice steady. Akin sighed, his shoulders slumping. "I have nothing left. I betrayed my best friend, and I destroyed his family. I need to unburden my soul, even if it won't change what I've done." The officer nodded, understanding the gravity of Akin's confession. "This will be added to your charges. You've caused a lot of pain, Akin, but perhaps your confession can bring some closure to those you've wronged." Akin was led back to his cell, his mind a tumultuous sea of regret and sorrow. He knew that his actions had irrevocably changed the lives of those he once cared about, and now he would have to live with the consequences. Meanwhile, in the village, life slowly began to return to normal for Chukwu and his daughters. The story of their ordeal had spread, and the villagers rallied around them, offering support and kindness. Chukwu's wealth remained intact, but more importantly, his family was safe. One day, as the sun set over the village, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Chukwu gathered his daughters by the fireplace. The crackling fire cast dancing shadows on the walls, creating a warm and comforting atmosphere. "Father, tell us the story again," Chinara requested, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. Chukwu smiled gently, his heart swelling with love for his daughters. "Which one, my dear?" "The story of how we survived the treachery." Ada chimed in, her voice soft but filled with determination. Chukwu nodded, his expression turning serious. "Very well, I will tell you once more, so you never forget the importance of family and the dangers of greed." As Chukwu began to recount their harrowing journey, the village seemed to fall into a hush, as if listening to the tale that had now become a part of their collective memory. The story of Chukwu, his daughters, and the treacherous Adana and Akin would live on, passed down from generation to generation, a beacon of hope and a warning to all who heard it. Back in the prison, Adana and Akin's lives took unexpected turns. Adana, with the guidance of Mama Nkechi, embarked on a path of redemption. She spent her days reflecting on her actions, seeking forgiveness, and finding ways to atone for her sins. Akin too found himself on a journey of self-discovery. His confession had lifted a heavy burden from his soul, and he began to write letters of apology to Chukwu and his daughters. He expressed his deep regrets and sought their forgiveness, hoping to find some measure of peace. Chukwu received Akin's letters with mixed emotions. The pain of betrayal was still fresh, but he also recognized the sincerity in Akin's words. After much contemplation, Chukwu decided to visit Akin in prison. The prison was a bleak and foreboding place, its walls echoing with the sounds of despair. Chukwu walked through the corridors, his heart heavy with conflicting feelings. When he finally reached Akin's cell, he stood silently for a moment, watching his former friend. Akin looked up, his eyes filled with remorse. Chukwu, he began, his voice trembling, I don't expect you to forgive me, but I needed to tell you how sorry I am. Chukwu took a deep breath, his expression unreadable. Akin, you caused unimaginable pain to my family and me. But I also know that holding on to anger and hatred will only destroy me further. Akin's eyes filled with tears. I don't deserve your forgiveness, Chukwu, but I hope that someday you can find it in your heart to let go of the anger. Chukwu nodded slowly. Forgiveness is a journey, Akin. It's not something that happens overnight. But for the sake of my daughters and myself, I will try. The two men sat in silence, the weight of their shared past hanging heavily in the air. It was a moment of tentative healing, a step towards closure. Chukwu left the prison with a lighter heart. The road to forgiveness would be long and challenging, but he was determined to take it for his daughters, for himself, and even for Akin. Back in the village, life continued to move forward. Chukwu, Ad, and Chinara found strength in each other and in the support of their community. They rebuilt their lives, their home once again filled with warmth and joy. Thanks for watching. I would love to know your thoughts in the comment section. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share with your friends and loved ones.